Bets checking back in as we go over the NFL season opener between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. We're going to go over the DK Showdown slate, go over my top plays, my top strategies. We got a high Vegas total, and I have a couple different strategies that I think we can implement to go ahead and differentiate ourselves and skyrocket up those leaderboards. So go ahead, before we get going, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We had a lot of love on our first video that we put out, and we expect this channel to keep growing. And we will also have live streams on the Twitch channel, and that is at twitch.tv/bets. So go ahead and follow me over there. Without further ado, let's go. Before we get into our top plays and strategies for Thursday night, go ahead, check out my guys at Occupy Fantasy. This is where I do all of my lineup building. This is where I get all of my information. The guys at Occupy Fantasy know exactly what they're doing. They literally wrote a book on it. They have the Captain Spot NFL Showdown DFS Strategy Guide on their website. You can buy it for $34.99. It's on sale. While you're at it, go buy the Ultimate Guide. And while you're at it, just go sign up for these guys because they absolutely kill it on any different sport known, MLB, NBA, college football, CSGO, League of Legends, whatever you are into, they have a daily plug for, they have a model for, and you can build lineups in. So go check out my guys at Occupy Fantasy. Also, have a 125% sign-up bonus at BetUS, one of the great sports books that I use. Go ahead and sign up. We have both of these links below. The Occupy and the BetUS will be below. Use those. Use code DOTBETS for a 125% sign-up bonus. All right, now let's dive into the slate itself. We can go over our top plays and our top strategies. For those of you who are new, just checking it out, how you play the DK Showdown slate, you choose one guy to be your so-called captain, and he scores 1.5 times his fantasy points. And then you have 5 flex positions. So you have the captain position. You're also gonna have to pay 1.5 times that amount. So if he's regularly, like just Gilbert, just for instance, is 9,000. If you want to captain him, you got to pay 13,500. So that does factor into the strategies between picking your captain and differentiating yourselves amongst that. You have to nail your captain. First and foremost, you literally have to get the guy that goes off. And in this slate, you're just thinking of how the game can go narrative-wise. So that's how I always build my lineups. You have to literally tell your story and take a stand and figure out which way you want your lineups to go. So with this high Vegas total, a lot of people are probably going to be throwing Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, and Elliott, probably a couple of these receivers, but you're not going to see many defenses. You're not going to see many kickers. So that's a different strategy you could implement. And you can take that stance and say, hey, I don't think this game is going to be as high scoring as Vegas thinks it will be. And you can go ahead and roster maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So that's a little bit kind of different strategies you can take. My number one high-risk approach strategy that I implement is always to put a wide receiver in the captain position. Thinking for that reason is because if you have Tom Brady in your captain position, if you have Tom Brady and he's got to throw to probably 2 to 3 to 4 different guys for him to be the ultimate captain right there. So he's got to be that guy, which he could be that guy. Him or Dak could be that guy, but you have to build your lineups that way. And that's the way you can be a little bit different is with Brady and Dak. You're going to have to put Brady and you're going to have to put Evans, Godwin, and some, maybe not Brown, or you can go even a little bit farther down, a Scotty Miller. So that is like your Tampa Bay stack that you could play. All right, so that's a different way you could go about it. Other way, so that's if you're going to roster a QB as your captain. That I think you just need to go all out with the captain strategy. For defensive purposes, I like to play if you play the Bucks defense in there, so you're just saying, hey, I'm thinking completely different. Let's go maybe running backs. So you play the Buccaneers quarter or as a captain, and then you go down here and you say, I'm going to go Rojo with it. I think this is going to be a ground and pound game, and we're going to just be completely different from the field. Like I said, it goes back and forth. You literally have to tell yourself a story with this. All right. So if you guys have any questions with that, hit me in the comments below. Let me know who you think is going to go off in this game in the comments below as well. But I'm going to get into my top plays now on who are. So I'm going to roster a lot of these receivers for both teams. All right. So you can differentiate yourself just by doing it this way. So not even, if you want to go Mike Evans, you can go Mike Evans. He'll ultimately be my top guy, just because if you guys go to, this is NFL Savant website, red zone targets for Tampa Bay last year. So Evans and Gronk are the two main guys. So if you can see here, then you got Fournette, Godwin, Brate, Brown, Jones, and it just keeps going down and down. And you go to the targets, Evans got targeted 118 times last year. Godwin 88, Gronk 83, Brown 62. But I do think it's skewed in the Browns territory, because I don't think he played all those games last year. So he's a guy that could go off in this slate. I don't know ownerships at this time. That will also play a factor. So those are when you have to tune into the live stream. So as soon as I get a feel for who's kind of playing who, if there is a bunch of Mike Evans, then I might lay off of my ownerships on Mike Evans. But for the time being, he's going to be my top wide receiver. And as always, if you play Mike Evans, you play Tom Brady with him, or whoever the quarterback is. You play that wide receiver quarterback stack 100% of the time. It's very, very highly unlikely that Evans can be the top guy without Tom Brady in the lineup. So you can also play it on the Cowboys end. If you think the Cowboys can make this a game and you think it's going to be the CeeDee Lamb show, go CeeDee Lamb in the core and the captain spot. So put CeeDee Lamb here. Then automatically you fill with Dak Prescott. So that's the main high risk strategies that I implement. It's either the defenses where you're going to take a stand, or you're going to put the wide receivers with their guys, and then you're trying to find how many people can score a touchdown and have a very, very big game. So think narratively when you're making these lineups. But my top plays here are going to be Evans, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Dak Prescott, and then probably Tom Brady. So I'm taking these big guys, and then you can kind of fill in at the baseline here. So you could throw a Brown in, you could throw a Gronk in your flex position, you could throw a Rojo, you can throw a Leonard Fournette. There's a kicker here with Gio Bernard going to be playing. He's going to be the main third down guy. Could you essentially roster him as your captain spot? Be a very, very high risk approach, and I probably would not do so, just with the sole. I just don't think he can be the top scoring guy on the slate if he's going to play one play of every drive. I don't see it. Could you throw him in as a flex? For sure, but that's where you can find your value if you play some of these cheaper guys. So say you think who's Darden. So Darden's going to get on the field. He's going to be challenging Scotty Miller for that fourth wide receiver role. And this is a one-game scenario. So a lot of things can happen in this game. If you say, hey, 1 to 5% of my lineups, I'm going to have Darden as my guy in the captain, and I'm going to have Tom Brady. That frees up a lot of salary. And I've seen this approach win. I've seen it not that often, because you're going to have a very, very highly unlikely chance that Darden is the top guy in the game. So you really got to be smart with the way you go about it. You can do this for salary relief and hope and pray that he goes off, but it's a shot in the dark. So the way I like to go about it are, especially in this game here, you're going to have you got 3 receivers on both teams that are very, very good. Gallup is probably going to be the least highly owned of the Dallas Cowboys, and you're probably going to have Brown depending on the ownership between Brown and Godwin, the lower owned I'm going to take. I'm leaning right now towards Brown. So Brown and Gallup are my two guys that I'm probably going to differentiate myself with. But those are going to be my wide receivers, my captain, and then pair them with Brady and Prescott. Could you end up going Ezekiel Elliott is your captain? Sure, I think that's a more of a low risk approach, more of a cash game approach. I think he could get a little bit more receiving yards this game. As I've already bet his over receiving yards, I think it's 18 and a half. I think he already shot up to 21 and a half. But that right there, his going against the number one opponent defense in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think it's very, very tough for him to get there on the ground. I think his over-under is like 54. So they're not expecting much. I know these two teams didn't play each other last year, so you can't go back and look. Probably wouldn't matter with Dak being injured. But the over-under being at 52 and a half or 51 and a half, whatever it's at right now, it's over 50. A lot of people are going to be playing these skill guys. So you could differentiate yourself. You can say, take a stand. Hey, I like this Tampa Bay defense, especially because Zach Martin's out for the Cowboys offensive line. And you can say, I think there's going to be a bunch of sacks, a bunch of turnovers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just roll. So take a stand in where you guys want to put your lineups and try to tell a story. If you think there's going to be a lot of field goals in this game, maybe go quarterbacks, kickers, and a couple receivers. Something along the line. I would not roster a kicker or a tight end as your captain, and very rarely would you do a defense in this scenario with the high scoring. But I think that's a strategy right now, especially with the issues on the Cowboys, that you could get some exposure to that Tampa Bay defense. So that's going to wrap up the video here. I don't like to throw any lineups in there just because I don't want anybody to flag me for them. If you do want any more of my picks, check me out on Twitch. I'm going to be doing a live stream Wednesday night at, I think, 7. So I'll be tweeting that out. So follow me at DotBets on Twitter. And also, I run my own VIP section in Twitter. It's only $20 a month. If you want access to that, let me know. DM me on Twitter. So let's get after it. My approach at this point in time are going to be wide receivers and the defense for Tampa Bay, with Evans being my top guy for Tampa Bay, CeeDee Lamb being the guy for Dallas. It depends on how much of ownership we get with Cooper, how much ownership we get with Brown, depending on who we go with Gallup and so forth, and Godwin. So, but you have to 100% pair him with Brady and with Dak. So, with that, we will get up on out of here. Leave a comment before you guys get out of here and tell me who you think goes off. See you guys.